Bro, the mere fucking fact that I'm recording this on the day where Brant releases is diabolical. Hello Blades, my name is Vartvarka. I've recently bought a new phone, a Red Magic 10 Pro. Yes, I'm fucking boasting. And I bought it specifically to play video games. If you think that I'm retarded for that, you can go fuck yourself. Anyway, this new phone allowed me to experience the whole beauty of playing G-Shock Henley Quickswap, but also more importantly, it allowed me to play Whimpering Wastes. Technically I could play this on this phone, but whatever. And I played it a bit, and I found myself kind of agreeing with a lot of people that Whimpering Wastes could be something more. It could be something more fun, and that the tokens that are presented in the game mode are kind of lacking. And since the two vids that I have on my channel are suggestions, and well, my opinion is so fucking important in the game dev industry, I thought, why don't I just fantasize how Kuro could actually make their tokens more interesting, more fun, more elusive RAM-like. First of all, let's start with the coins. These are tokens that we open up like almost immediately on the first 3 levels, and they just increase the specific attribute damage bonus, or give us the specific attribute damage bonus. The more interesting implementation of those, even though I mean they are meant to be a bit of basic, right? The more interested implementation of those would be giving them more like sonata-like effects. For example, the fusion coin would give all characters in the team the fusion damage bonus for 15 seconds when they use a skill or a resonance liberation or whatever. The Havoc would give them the Havoc damage bonus for 15 seconds when they use the basic attack or the heavy attack. This change would make them, I mean, they would just make it so coins don't seem so dogshit. That's all. And like nobody cares about the fucking coins, so I guess we can just move on to the next class of the tokens. The next class of the tokens are flags. Right now we have 3 flags in the game. They read: Hunting Lost Flag. Every time Resonator deals damage, has their next heavy attack damage amplified by 4% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Sermon Lost Flag. Every time a Resonator deals basic attack damage, their next basic attack damage is amplified by 4% for next 15 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. After casting Intro skill, increases crit damage of all Resonators in the team by 40% for 15 seconds. I feel like they are fucking dogshit. How to make them more fun? We can go into the, kind of a theme of the flags themselves. I propose that the flags, there would be 4 flags in the game for every damage type, and whenever you choose a flag as a token, they appear on the battlefield, like, on the side of the arena or on like the 4 sides of the arena, it doesn't really matter. And they say that for every 5 enemy skills, this flag gives you plus 1.5% damage type bonus to all Resonators in the team, stacking indefinitely. I mean, yeah, as I said, make 4 flags for 4 damage types and we're good to go. This would just make sense why they are flags and not the other like name, and also give them some potential of being actually good in maybe some later stages, if we're talking about, very, very high scaling stages or very high scaling characters. The next section are Captain Seals, and there are a lot of interesting ones, though I think we could rework some of them. One of the best ones that were proposed is Pilgrim Captain Seal. It reads: each time casting Resonance skill reduces Resonance Liberation cooldown by 20% and recovers Resonance energy by 20%. This effect has a cooldown of 3 seconds. The only change that I would really do to this token is maybe make that the cooldown is separated for all the characters, so the quickswap teams would feel much like insanely better on this token. So the second token that I would personally change is Absolver Captain Seal. It reads: After casting Resonance Liberation, increases basic attack crit damage of all resonators in the team by 40% for 15 seconds and reduces their resonance skill cooldown by 10 seconds. This one is kind of interesting and boring at the same time, since we do get this cooldown reduction, but we already have the cooldown reduction on the previous one. So I'm gonna work in the other direction. This token, at least to my knowledge, was tailor-made for Camellia. So, what is the most important move in Camellia's kit? Her spin. So, I propose this. Every move that requires holding a button is 25% faster and gains a pull-in effect. So the beneficiaries of this buff, there are a lot. Camellia, Genshin, Yan Yan, Chun-Li, SK, Rocha, Phoebe, Yinlin, Sanhua, Tao-Chi, S-Rover, H-Rover theoretically, and I mean, it's already a lot, and I have probably forgotten someone. Anyway, the point I'm making is that this token would make a lot of characters feel much more viable that don't feel viable right now, and make the game mode much comfier, also make it more fucking interesting. Third token is Plunderer Captain's Seal. It reads: recovers 3% of the resonator's HP per second and deals 600 electro damage to nearby targets upon the 6th HP recovery. This has a lot of potential, but some horrendously awful implementation. I want to leave the healing part, but change a bit of the scaling and change a bit of the functionality of how it deals damage. Every 2 health of excessive healing converts into 1 shield toughness that may stack indefinitely. Every second deals X% of the shield's toughness to enemy on the field. I wrote X because I have no fucking idea how much damage it would deal. It is really hard to even make any predictions on how it would feel, so I just wrote the X. This is supposed to be like a setup for the all support or all hero team, and potentially maybe open up the viability of some characters as main DPS, specifically in the WhiWa, as Genshin or Brant. The first token is lame as fuck. Amplifies all attribute damage by 25%. So instead of this, I would like to touch on some characters that I haven't really touched on yet, which is whenever a resonator enters a state, this state is enhanced. Increase the duration of all outro skills by 50%. So this one is pretty vague and needs a bit of explanation. Let's make an example. We take this token on a character like Jian, and upon using the Resonance Liberation, it would increase the duration of his Qinglong state, I believe it's called, or I don't give a fuck, and make it so he uses the Double Dragon technique that is being used right now by the better players in the TOA. It would make him just automatically use the Double Dragon rotation without even needing to dodge. The other example could be Zhen Liao. Upon using his ult, he would gain 5 hypercubes instead of 3, and also increase the duration of his state. The reason why I wanted to increase the outro duration as well is because I'm not sure about the numbers, but if we continue using the enhanced state, right, without outro skill, it could be theoretically a damage loss, a DPS loss. So it would kinda, help it out a bit. And now, the final fucking part, the golden tokens. The ambition that lies hidden. Increases spectral damage by 12.5% for each stack of Spectros Frazzle inflicted on targets, stacking up to 10 times. This effect lasts for 15 seconds. This is dogshit for Phoebe. And the reason it's dogshit for Phoebe is that it is kind of hard to consistently and repeatedly apply the Spectral Frazzle on a fuck ton waves of enemies. That's how I would change it. Inflict a Spectral Frazzle on each enemy whenever they spawn and every second. Whenever an amount of stacks of Spectral Frazzle reaches 10, they explode, dealing spectral damage, inflicted universal status effect, and resetting all Spectral Frazzle stacks to 0. Universal status is considered to be each negative status. For every universal status stack inflicted on an enemy, the enemy takes 10% more damage. Maximum number of stacks of universal status on an enemy is 10. This is kind of a hard one, but basically it means that you stack Spectral Frazzle, it reaches 10, it explodes, and you gain another dot. Or not the dot, but another negative effect that is kind of, the universal one. This would fix Phoebe's problem of, again, being unable to repeatedly and consistently apply the Spectral Frazzle to all the enemies on the field, to a lot of enemies on the field, and has a potential to theoretically be adjusted to, to fit other negative statuses in the future. Now, the other two, the sails that display Endeavor. After casting Resonance Liberation, the active Resonator's resonance skill damage is amplified by 35% for 15 seconds. This effect has a cooldown of 10 seconds. And the Gospel that receives Harmonized Praise. After casting intro skill, increases crit rate of all resonators in the team by 40% and crit damage by 80% for 15 seconds. These two are boring as fuck. I couldn't find any way how I could adjust them to fit the fucking characters that they support right now, so I'm gonna just fucking delete them and create new ones. After a Resonator casts an intro skill, for every second the Resonator stands on the field, they receive 3% attribute damage amplification stacking indefinitely. This buff disappears when swapping out. And for each intro skill cast in the battle, give every Resonator in the team 1% attribute damage amplification stacking indefinitely. Now, the first one would give a huge fucking buff to characters like Carlotta, like Jinxie maybe, Camellia, any fucking hyper carry who has a longer rotation. And the second one would give a potential use to some funny teams like, dual or triple even sub DPS, like, I don't know, Verena, Yan Yan and Sanhua, or whatever the fuck, and would allow them just to stack the fucking intro skills again and again and again and deal huge amounts of damage in very, very short rotations. Those are kind of the tokens that I have made that could potentially make the Whimpering Wastes game mode much more interesting. I wanted to give more suggestions, but I already gave 8 and it was hard as fuck. So, it is what it is. I'm fucking out. Hail the Blaze.